it is very hard to know what to say in terms of coverage or reportage, because this is unprecedented. The scale of this catastrophe is absolutely unbelievable. And it is, again, important to remember that not that long ago, i.e. a month, all of the people responsible for inflicting these harms upon our country were cheering Liz Truss to the rafters, the Daily Mail. And you have to check the dates sometimes. September the 24th, 2022. I'd remind you that the date today is the 17th of October, so not even a month ago. At last, a true Tory budget. And then on September the 26th, 2 days later, Kwasi's boost for families. These newspapers that turned you against High Court judges that sought to persuade you that decent politicians had no place in our democratic structures have turned in 3 weeks from cheering it to the rafters to describing it as almost certainly the death knell for Liz Truss's premiership. At last, a true Tory budget. You have here a man called Mark Littlewood, who is the head of that bizarre organisation, the Institute of Economic Affairs, that is officially an educational charity and yet refuses to reveal who funds it and finds itself invited onto more programmes than Stacey Solomon, if you were to keep a rough tally of who's popping up on the telly and the radio. He said just less than a month ago, I'm extremely encouraged by what I've heard. Asked to give that mini budget marks out of 10, he gave it 9. How long before he pops up on your telly again, or indeed on your radio? Nigel Farage, you remember him, the fellow with the Fisher-Price binoculars who goes down to Dover to rub his thighs at the sight of desperate people steaming into the country on flimsy dinghies. He tweeted, today was the best Conservative budget since 1986. I think he meant 1988, but intelligence, knowledge, and indeed consistency have never been his strong points. A chap called Julian Jessop, an economist for Brexit, another denizen of the so-called Institute of Economic Affairs. The initial reaction from most economic commentators and in the financial market has been a loud boo. There are some things I would have done differently, but the overall strategy is sound, and sentiment should recover as the economic benefits become clearer. These people are doolally. Gerard Lyons, another economist for Brexit, who reportedly was someone that Liz Truss valued the counsel of. This was a serious statement by the Chancellor. He not only reaffirmed his desire for a pro-growth policy agenda, but highlighted the focus on the supply side and on boosting investment. This is key to raising trend growth. It was necessary to reverse the corporation tax increase. They're reversing the reverse of the corporation tax increase. That's already been announced. And the national insurance tax rise, both of which were negative for growth. These measures were already discounted and account for the bulk of the fiscal easing announced today, as following figures show. Can you be more wrong than these people? And then, I'm afraid, the man who, if there were a crown to be awarded for abject public idiocy, this fella would probably get it, although I've said it before and I'll say it again, he's only the second stupidest person ever to have edited City AM newspaper. Alistair Heath, also in the Telegraph. Sit down for this bit. This was on the 23rd of September of this year. I'd remind you again, it's not even the 23rd of October yet. It's just under a week away. This was the best budget I have ever heard a British Chancellor deliver by a massive margin. This man gets paid for his opinions, just like I do. He gets paid for his analysis of the news, just like I do. He gets paid to tell you the information that he thinks you need in order to make informed decisions. The tax cuts were so huge and bold, the language so extraordinary, that at times, listening to Kwasi Kwarteng, I had to pinch myself to make sure I wasn't dreaming, that I hadn't been transported to a distant land that actually believed in the economics of Milton Friedman and Hayek. This man still gets paid for his opinions. Still going to be drawing a cheque from the Daily Telegraph. I don't think we've finished yet. I think we've got a few more. You remember Lord Frost, the man who negotiated that Brexit withdrawal and then sought to disown it before the ink was even dry? He wrote, what an excellent statement from Kwasi Kwarteng. Proper tax cuts, reforms in the pipeline on infrastructure and enterprise, a focus on growth and improving our economy's productive capacity, and all delivered with huge intellectual confidence.